So there are huge developments on the fourth stimulus check. And here's what President Biden and many Democrats are talking about the fourth stimulus check and Social Security increases.
As I've just demonstrated, while it often appears we do not agree, and that we do agree on a lot more things than we acknowledge. I signed 80 bipartisan bills into law last year, from preventing government shutdowns, protecting aged Americans from still too common hate crimes, to reforming military justice, and will soon be strengthening the Violence Against Women Act that I first wrote 3 decades ago. It's important.
Now the IRS has announced some Americans will have to return their stimulus money. There is a ton of news to cover in this video. That is why I'm bringing you the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check, Social Security, SSI, and SSDI information. And according to recent data, the third round of stimulus cash that was sent from March through December of last year has already been spent by many families. The stimulus program lingers in the tax season, as we're dealing with new letters and potential tax credits.
Folks, thank you. Thank you for the courage you showed.
And if you're missing stimulus relief money, you want to pay even more attention to this. The IRS has begun issuing what it calls Letter 6475. It's a letter that offers details about your economic impact payment in 2021. Now pay attention to this, folks, because it gets really interesting. The letter can help tax filers determine whether they are owed more money and discover whether they're eligible to claim the recovery rebate credit on their 2021 tax return when they file a return this year.
Working with state and local law enforcement to go after the traffickers. And if you're suffering from addiction, you should know you're not alone. I believe in recovery, and I celebrate the 23 million Americans in recovery. Second, let's take on mental health.
Yes, folks, that's very important information that you have to know. Many people have already received the full amount, but others did not. So this is very important news, and if you still have not received the full amount of stimulus money that you were supposed to receive last year, then know this. The recovery rebate credit is not completely new. It was offered on 2020 tax returns filed last year for the first 2 crisis-related stimulus payments available back in 2020. But according to tax experts, there was no letter 6475 last year. The new letter, everybody, is designed to help tax filers better figure out how much they actually received for the third stimulus payment, folks.
My administration is providing assistance in job training, housing, and now helping lower-income veterans get VA care debt-free.
And everybody, these letters are important for anyone who is unsure or due more money. Last tax season, everybody, millions of mistakes were made on 2020 returns regarding the first 2 stimulus payments, folks. And this is causing extra problems and longer delays in receiving refund cash. That's something that many people don't want. Data actually showed that last year many tax filers submitted information that actually did not match what the IRS had on file for stimulus payments. Now this is causing many delays, folks, and the IRS, folks, has also warned tax filers this year to be ready and absolutely certain that the amounts you received last year for the monthly advanced child tax credit payments and stimulus checks match up with government records and are entered correctly on the 2021 federal income tax return. And if your data doesn't match up, you end up in an IRS error resolution pile, and you're most likely going to have much longer to receive your refund check.
Never the same. Headaches, numbness, dizziness. A cancer that would put them in a flag-draped coffin. I don't know for sure if the burn pit that he lived near, that his hooch was near, in Iraq and earlier than that in Kosovo, is the cause of his brain cancer, the disease of so many other troops.
What this means is that it could be confusing for some people this tax season, and that the third stimulus payment didn't just arrive all at once for some family. The IRS issues what were called plus-up payments. The IRS issued what is called plus-up payments in addition to the initial direct deposit of stimulus checks last year for millions of Americans.
Last night, before a joint session of Congress, President Biden made the case to the nation and to the world that in the face of immense challenges, the United States remains strong and steady to meet the tests of our time. In an hour-long speech delivered before a chamber that was much fuller than last year, President Biden demonstrated yet again the kind of leader he has been for all his life. Optimistic, unifying, decent, and honest about where we are today and where we must go. I applaud President Biden for laying out a bold, strong, and comprehensive vision that will resonate with the vast majority of Americans. In particular, I was glad the President focused on three important things. First, he united the parties in supporting Ukraine and against Putin. Second, he showed how under Democratic leadership, America has turned the corner on COVID. And third, he confronted the urgency of lowering costs for the American families, something our caucus has been focusing on. First, I was glad that President Biden united the room, the country, and the world in opposing Vladimir Putin and his savage assaults on Ukraine. It's obvious that the President's done an incredibly good job unifying the Europeans and the West as a united front against Putin. And that was felt by people on both sides of the aisle. When the President called on the chamber to stand up and applaud Oksana Markarova, the Ukrainian ambassador, the feeling in the room reminded me of the unity we all felt after 9/11. But just like in 9/11, that unity comes with the sober recognition that the scale of Putin's brutality in Ukraine is worsening. Ukraine's State Emergency Service reported this morning that more than 2,000 civilians, 2,000 men, women, children, have now been killed as a result of Putin's savage brutality. What is happening in Ukraine is carnage, and the blood of every one of those innocent people falls on the hands of Vladimir Putin and on his band of crony oligarchs. This evil man must be stopped. In an important step, last night the Senate unanimously passed bipartisan legislation that will protect America, our government, and our critical infrastructure from cyber attacks. Finally, the holds were lifted from the other side of the aisle, and we passed unanimously the cyber legislation. It's more important now than ever before because Putin is brandishing a cyber weapon. Cyber warfare is truly one of the dark arts perfected by Putin's authoritarian regime. It's a weapon he's happy to employ around the world. When our authorities and government know of these attacks, they can prepare against future attacks. They will know who is attacking, where they're attacking, how they're attacking. And that will allow them to strengthen our defenses against future cyber attacks. Many in industry, at times, I believe, even the Chamber of Commerce, was not for